Annette Harris is the CEO of GetcaughtinANet Inc., the radio show host of Mind, Body, and Soul with Annette, the podcast host of MindMending in the Net, and the author of Surviving a Silenced Heartbeat. Annette declares that 2022 is the year of healing. Hashtag 2022 is the year of healing. Join us in this discussion and this conversation all around how to handle grief right here on the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. Don't you move. We'll be right back after this quick intro.
Whoa. Why y'all so happy?
You don't know? Sharvette Mitchell is on the radio.
It's time to get motivated, excited, and influenced. Why? It's the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show, live from Richmond, Virginia. And now, here to motivate, excite, and influence you, Sharvette Mitchell.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show, broadcasting live from the capital city of Richmond, Virginia, but heard and seen all across the World Wide Web. We appreciate you joining us every single week, every single episode, every single segment, because, you know, the goal of the show is to motivate, excite, and influence. And we know that our live streaming platforms, for those that are live, are sending out notifications and saying, hey, the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show is on. Come on and join in. And certainly we always want to give a shout out to our podcast listeners. Apple Podcasts, you all know y'all stay at the top of the list, but we cannot leave out Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and the rest. And then certainly our talk radio show platform, Blog Talk Radio. We are glad to have you joining and listening in. And if you're checking us out and hanging out at Sharvette.com, we're glad to have you. We have all of the information there for our current guest that's hanging out in the virtual green room right now, and all of our past shows. So that's a great place to be. This segment is brought to you by my 12-month trademarked group coaching program called the Platform Builder. Listen, the wait list is open. Jump over to platformbuilder.biz. Jump over to platformbuilder.biz and learn more and join the wait list. And we'll share a little bit more about the Platform Builder program in this segment. Welcome to all that are coming on in YouTube. We see you. Kim, hello. Thank you for being here. Deborah, thank you for being here. Shout out to you. I know you just had a little surgery, so we're glad that you are with us in the virtual studio over on YouTube there. We want to remember you certainly in our thoughts. And if you're new to the show, go ahead and, let us know. Even if you're watching a replay of a broadcast and there is a comment section, let us know where you are watching and tuning in from. So let me introduce my guest so that we can go ahead and get this conversation started. Very powerful conversation that we're having. So let me introduce my guest because she is ready and waiting to come up with on the main stage and really share a little bit with you. So having a desire to understand the mentality of mankind is what propelled Annette Harris into the area of psychology because, as she always states, everything starts in the mind. She has a Bachelor of Science in Psychology from Trinity Christian College, and on the way to graduate school, Annette caught the bug of becoming a radio show host. She wanted a way to continue nurturing what she'd already learned in undergrad. So Annette prayed about it, and Mind, Body, and Soul with Annette was born. This radio show that was created really as a connection between psychology and the Bible and spiritual realm was really there to help many that are hurting across the nation. And as a result of being a certified mental health ambassador, Annette is now also the host of the new podcast, MindMending in the Net. And then this year, Annette added author to her title, and she wrote a book called Surviving a Silenced Heartbeat. And she says, I hope that my story will be the push you need to fight through your pain. No matter how long it's been since you lost a loved one, your healing process must take place. Without further ado, coming up to the stage, coming up to the mic, we have Annette Harris. Put your virtual hands together and welcome her to the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. Hello, Annette.
Well, hello, Sharvette. How are you doing this evening?
I am doing well. We are so glad to have you joining us virtually and to just have this great, powerful conversation. And so I actually want to start from the beginning. I love the spin on your name with your company. So to talk to us about how you came up with the name and how you kind of twist that to tie into your name.
Oh, sure. First of all, I do want to say thank you so much for this opportunity to come and be with you and your listeners, your supporters. I appreciate this opportunity. Well, you know what? It actually started off with the name of the radio show, Mind, Body, and Soul with Annette. That's how everything started.
Uh-huh.
When I caught the bug of becoming a radio show host, I needed a name. And so I actually reached out to individuals on social media and asked them, what do you think? Can you give me some names to kind of go with? And I told them, of course, that I wanted to bring in the aspect of psychology and spiritual aspects of everyday life into my show. And one young lady, she said she actually prayed about it. And the next morning, she inboxed me and she said, I think it should be Mind, Body, and Soul with Annette. So that's how the name of the show started. And so it's a little play on my name, Annette. And then a few years ago, the Lord allowed me to establish my own company, GetcaughtinANet. And so that is where the company is, where the radio show, the podcast, and now the book is housed under.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And so those that may be just listening, look down in the show notes because you'll see the kind of net, like maybe a fishing net versus a net. So you'll be able to visually see that. And so when did you become passionate around, the mental health and psychology, but in conjunction with the faith-based community and the faith-based kind of principles and things?
That's an awesome question. Actually, psychology has always been a part of my mind, and no pun intended with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I have always wondered what makes an individual do what they do. What are they thinking about? Where did it come from that they actually made this decision in their life to do this?
Yeah.
And so I've always wondered about that. And I said, you know what? I need to just go to school for it.
Smart.
Learn a little bit more about it.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for my schooling and to be able to learn more about psychology and how the mind works. And, because people, a lot of times they say, oh, they just did that because of this simple reason or that simple reason. I always say there is a reason behind why an individual will do a certain thing, whatever decision that they make. If you go back and maybe look in their childhood or how they came along, something is a connection there to make you understand why they did what they did and what their reasoning is behind it. So, and then you also asked about the spiritual aspect.
Yes.
Here real quick as well. I grew up in the church, and as simply enough, I observed a lot in the church. And I always wondered why some things were happening in the church, if I could say it just as simple as that.
Yeah.
And, I wanted to know why, but I wasn't finding out the answers. I would see individuals. There was a young lady, as a matter of fact, as I was coming up, she went away to college. When she returned back from college, something had snapped mentally with her.
Wow.
And I always wanted to know why, what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But I never did find out that answer, the exact answer. But I knew it had to be something mental that happened with her that went on. And so I think that kind of propelled me into that particular area, wondering, again, why individuals do the things that they do.
Powerful, powerful. If you're just joining, welcome to the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. We're here with Annette Harris, who is with us, and we're joining in. We're starting and having a conversation around how to handle grief, and this is the topic today. And so, tell us about your brother Daryl.
Okay, well, thank you for asking. My brother Daryl was he was a very prominent young man who was deliberate about every action that he did. He was unfortunately, at the time of his death, he was actually in school for broadcasting.
Oh, wow.
I live in the Midwest, and Columbia College in downtown Chicago is very prominent for broadcasting. And that's actually where he was taking classes. He had his own radio show there. And Daryl was very protective of his sisters, of his mom. My parents had divorced when I was young, and he took on that role. He was the only male in the house at that time after they divorced. He took on the role of protector. And he didn't want to see anything happen to his family. So he did what he could, took on additional jobs to help out around the house, to help mom. And so he was just that helpful individual. Now, of course, he, had his side as a brother, and all of that. I want to paint him as such an angel, but that's just sibling,
right,
things that we went through. But I will say that he was, again, very deliberate about what he was going to do, and he wanted to make a positive difference in this world. And that's Daryl in a nutshell.
Wow. And so talk to us about, this book that you've written, Surviving a Silenced Heartbeat, that you wrote this year, so released this year. Congratulations on that. What was the catalyst and the grief experience that led you to writing this book?
Well, I will say the catalyst was Jesus Christ himself.
All right. That's a good one.
But you know what? I at the beginning of this year in January, I normally, with my radio show, I normally pray and ask God for themes for that particular year. And in January, he gave me 2022 is the year of healing. And I said, oh, okay, I like that, So I hopped on that. And so pretty much, a lot of my shows will focus around that theme, right?
Yeah.
I did not know that was for me first.
Wow.
I was thinking about others and wanting to help others. So I'm like, this is going to be a good one or whatever, when I can have guests on, we can kind of focus on the healing.
Yeah.
About a month after that, the Lord told me, you need to write. Right? What am I writing?
Right.
I asked him, I'll talk to the Lord just like I'm talking to you,
Yeah.
I don't have big words or anything like that. So I told the Lord, I said, well, if this is what you want me to do, I said, then you're going to have to give me every word. I said, from the first word to the last word, and you're going to have to give me the title. I'm just telling the Lord, he tells me. But I'm like, because you know what, Sharvette, my whole thought process and everything that I do, I want everything to point to God. I don't want that, I'm not trying to be big and fancy and famous and all of that.
Yeah.
And if he wants to do something, that's his business,
Yes.
But my main thing is I want everything to point to God. So I said, I want you to get the glory, so you're going to have to tell me and show me what to do. So he gave me the commission to write. And so I prayed about it. And like one morning after my morning devotion, I looked on Facebook and I saw this advertisement for a writing retreat. Now, the connection there was I had interviewed the individual that was holding the writing retreat because she had written a number of books herself. I didn't realize that she was also a publisher. Well, I reached out to her, went through a 6-week writing retreat because I had no idea where to start. And the Lord blessed me and directed me to her. After writing the book, then I sought out her publishing company to publish my book. And that's how everything began. And I told the Lord, I said, well, all right. I said, but it's been 39 years since my brother passed. I said, why now? He said, because grief does not have an expiration date.
Wow.
He told me that there are others that are still hurting. It may have been years since their loved one. It may have been just yesterday. And then he also told me that grief itself is not just you losing a person physically. Grief is any loss, your reaction to any loss in your life, whether it's a divorce, whether it's a relationship that is broken up, or or your physical state. Maybe it's been altered. Maybe you've been diagnosed with something. That's a loss
Mm.
as well. And so
Yeah.
the Lord wanted me to bring this out to understand that when you go through those stages of grief, you can still survive.
I think that's so powerful because a lot of times people do put a timetable on grief. So for you, to say 39 plus years ago, people might feel like, oh, well, did it just happen 2 years ago? Or shouldn't you just be over it already? What do you say to people who have that mindset of, shouldn't you just be over it already?
First, I would say no. I always say that when you go through it, it's not you getting over it, you get through it.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to take it, of course, a day at a time.
Yeah.
And everybody takes grief and loss differently. I may not react the same way that you may
Yeah.
react to a loss or grieving over someone.
Mm.
And guess what? That's okay.
Yeah.
What made us different. He made each and every one of us different. There's no, of course you have twins or whatever, but they're still different.
Right.
They're still different. God has a different blueprint for each and every one of us, and how we handle it is going to be key. So he wanted this to be brought out to understand, about grief. It doesn't. I don't like when people kind of put individuals in the box and say, oh, I'm going to give you 30 days. After this 30 days, then
Wow.
you can be fine with. No, 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 no,
Yeah.
no, no. Because what is happening is that they're bottling things up inside. They're going to explode after a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we see how individuals, if you look in the news, you look
Yeah.
around, you see how people are exploding because
Mm-hmm.
they were hanging on to certain things, maybe that grief, maybe that loss, and they didn't deal with it effectively.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. We're getting hearts and the care symbol on Facebook. Thank you for those that are tuning in and checking us out. We're having this impactful conversation with Annette Harris, CEO of GetcaughtinANet Inc, pun intended, and author of Surviving a Silenced Heartbeat. I think this is a really incredible book in the sense of the time period of the loss, and I think this will free some people who might feel like, man, I feel like I should be over it. I thought I was over it, and I'm not actually over it. And so this will help, hopefully, a listener, a viewer, have some grace about it. And so, how can people pick up a copy of Surviving a Silenced Heartbeat?
oh, well, thanks for asking that question. I do have my book's website at www.GetcaughtinANet.com. I have been blessed. I just found out my publisher told me that we're at Walmart now.
All
And
right.
so, also on Amazon, of course, Barnes and Noble, Books a Million. And there's a museum here in Chicago, DuSable Museum. Our books will
Okay.
be there soon. So, but yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. And so I'd love to share with our audience either some tips or strategies, specifically for those that are handling grief, dealing with grief. And we are, sliding out of October, going right into November. We've got holidays, coming up and things of that nature, which may bring back memories, may be an adjustment time for people. And so I'd love for you to share just a couple tips. And if they're covered in the book, if you want to give an appetizer sampler, that would be good. But maybe 3 tips or 3 strategies that you have for people who are handling and wanting to, help with their grief.
Sure. I'll give you a couple tips. The first thing I would say is to acknowledge that you're actually dealing with that grief or that
Mhm.
loss. Don't push it away. Don't throw it under the rug, because that rug is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and
Yeah.
you're going to trip over it. So first of all, acknowledge that this is what you're feeling.
Mhm.
And then 2, when it comes to the stages of grief, they started off with 5 stages, right? And I think they added like 2 more. I want individuals to know that it does not matter if you start at stage 1, hop to stage 5, come back to stage 3, stage 2, or stage 4. If it's out of order, it's okay.
Yeah.
If you never get to stage 5, it's okay.
Yeah.
Just when you take time to go through, we know the stages of grief: denial. You have anger, bargaining, acceptance is, I believe, like the last stage of that fifth stage model.
Yeah.
But we have to understand that, I may be in that denial stage. Someone else in my family may be at that acceptance stage.
Dealing with the same grief, the same loss.
There it is, right there. And again, I can say this over and over again. It's okay. It's okay. Just, my first step was make sure you acknowledge that this is what you're feeling. Please do not deal with it. Okay. You have to deal with it. You must deal with it. Because it's going to affect not only you, it's going to affect your family, maybe your children.
Yeah.
It's going to ultimately affect your decisions in life. So we want to make the right decisions, don't we? We want to make the right choices. So we have to understand where things start from. So a lot of times it could start from there. And my third thing, don't be afraid. As Christians, sometimes we are afraid of this.
Yeah.
We got a therapist.
Yeah.
Do not be afraid to do that. Trust me, God is not frowning on that. He has medical doctors.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Something, your arm hurt, you fall and break your arm, or who are you calling? You're going to call your medical doctor, aren't you, to get an appointment? I had a fall or whatever.
Yeah.
Take that same intensity and check out that mind. That mental health professional is there for you as well. Now, I do advocate Christian counseling, and it's okay. And I'll just let you in on this as I'm ending up my tips. I had to seek out a counselor while I was writing this book.
Because it probably uncovered and pulled things out. Writing is so therapeutic. Literally, we've produced like 4 book collaborations. The 5th book collaboration we are in editing right now. And absolutely, it's like sometimes you write and then you look and the pages start speaking back to you. The words start speaking back to you.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I have to relive everything.
Yeah. And we have connected with the Sharvette Mitchell radio show. Certainly those that are in the Richmond, Virginia area, foreverhealed.com is a resource that they do corporate and church and individual grief recovery counseling. Also, Dr. Jackie Maxwell does grief recovery counseling. So if you connect, send a message to me, Sharvette or Sharvette.com, anywhere they can do virtual services for you. We will send you their information as well. Are there other resources or any specific resources that you recommend?
You know what I actually do recommend? If you go to Psychology Today, they have therapists. And the reason why I say go to Psychology Today is because sometimes some therapists can only do counseling in their own state, depending on how they're certified.
Right.
So if you go to Psychology Today and look under the therapist section, you should be able to find someone in your state or in your area. I know a lot of times, and I'm like this too, a lot of times we want to go off of referrals, and that's only normal.
Yeah.
But if you are not in Virginia, if you're not, because I have a number of therapists like on speed dial, that come on my show. If you're not here in Illinois, please go to Psychology Today and look under their therapist section and reach out to them. And I promise you that you will get the help that you need.
Great. And then certainly pick up a copy of Surviving a Silenced Heartbeat. I always say that a book, a resource can be definitely, doesn't replace a person, but can get you started. Absolutely. And this is, from the voice of experience. Again, let listeners know all the places that they can pick up a copy of Surviving a Silenced Heartbeat by Annette Harris.
Sure. My book's website at www.GetcaughtinANet.com, We're also at Walmart online. We're also on Barnes and Noble online, and Books A Million, and Amazon, of course. Everyone loves to order from Amazon. So while you're going in your cart and ordering all those other things, just add Surviving a Silence Heartbeat to your cart and you will not be disappointed.
There you go. And I think that I dropped the hashtag here. Those that are watching in our banner section here, that I think this is just really powerful. Hashtag 2022 is the year of healing, which was given to you at the beginning of the year by God, not knowing that He, one part of your healing was this kind of revisiting and working through the grief from your brother Daryl. And so I think that is very powerful. So there may be some of you who are watching. You might come back. If you connect with this, I want you in the comments to put hashtag exactly what you see. 2022 is the year of healing. Hashtag 2022 is the year of healing. I want you to put that as a sign of you receiving that and connecting with that. Go ahead and type that in the comments as you are watching and listening. And so the goal of the show certainly is to motivate, excite, and influence. And we want to know what continues to motivate Annette.
What continues to motivate me is the ability to reach out and help someone else. I always want to be used by God to be able to reach out and to help an individual. I am blessed to, so far, this book just came out in August. I'm actually on the 39th year of his death.
Oh, wow.
But I have been blessed to receive so many reviews, people inboxing me. I'm trying to shift them over to Amazon to put their comments there. But
yeah.
To let me know, you know what? I didn't realize that I was still grieving. I didn't realize that I was still hurting so bad like this. And so they're understanding, what it means to take time out and recognize what you're feeling, so that you can receive that help.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Well, we certainly wish you much more continued success. Those that are listening to the podcast or the talk radio show version, we have all of the connection points for Annette Harris there, the radio show, the podcast, links. So just look down below in the show notes, and that will have a great place for you to connect on social media. How can they connect with you on social media?
Oh, I'm all over Facebook, Annette GetcaughtinANet, Instagram, GetcaughtinANet, Twitter, GetcaughtinANet, TikTok. Yes, I'm on TikTok. GetcaughtinANet. So you can find me there, and also, of course, on YouTube, my GetcaughtinANet, the name of the company.
All right. Well, it has been great featuring you. Any shout outs? Anybody you want to shout out as we close out your segment?
You know what? I want to shout out and thank you again. I have been following you for a few months, and I am thoroughly impressed by what you do and how you're reaching out and helping people, because that's exactly what you're doing. So I appreciate you. So shout out to you, of course. A shout out to all my supporters and listeners and those that follow me every week and follow me down through this year as well. I'm just appreciative of all of you. I'm not sure how many were listening. I'll go back and look at the names, but thank you all for following me even on tonight. And remember, SASH is not just a book; it's a movement. It's a movement.
It's a movement. Thank you so much for being here. And we will keep our eye out on you and wish you much more continued success.
Blessings.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Powerful conversations there. So as mentioned, this segment was brought to you by my 12-month trademarked Platform Builder program. And here's a little bit about it as we wrap up and get ready to exit the segment.
Are you a high-achieving woman entrepreneur who is ready to ditch being invisible and unpolished, but finally ready to shine a spotlight on your expertise and services? There's a better way to increase the visibility of your personal brand and gain more customers. Let Sharvette Mitchell show you with the Platform Builder program. The Platform Builder program is her signature 12-month group coaching program built for female entrepreneurs and leaders who are ready to position their expertise and services with a polished visual brand, increase visibility with speaking opportunities, build authority with a published book, and convert more customers with content marketing. Not only do you walk away with all of the juicy strategic nuggets in Sharvette's head, but with tangible outcomes that you can see and feel. Find out more and apply at www.platformbuilder.biz.
All right, there you have it. Thank you so much for listening in and being a part of this segment. If you came in, you said, oh my goodness, I missed some of it. The best place to check out, that's almost a tongue-tied right there. The best place, in my humble opinion, is to stop by Sharvette.com, which is the main website for our show. And that way you can watch the YouTube version. You can listen to the podcast version. We have all the links. You can see Annette's full bio and links to all of her information. So Sharvette.com is a great place to go if you missed any portion or you want to share this out. Thank you for all those. Thank you, Kim and Deborah over on YouTube holding it down. The retweets on Twitter. Thank you so much. And for those that are listening and watching into the future, it is a wrap here on the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. And it is always my pleasure to see you on these airwaves. All right. Till we meet again. Peace and love.
Live from Richmond, Virginia, you've been listening to the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. Get Sharvette Mitchell every Tuesday at 6 p.m., interviewing all the stars you want to hear from. So until next week, stay motivated, excited, and influenced. This is the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show.